their loss of accreditation. Plus, how Ohio University athletes are profiting off their name, image, and likeness. And in sports, the Ohio women's basketball team reveals its non-conference schedule with intriguing matchups ahead of their upcoming season. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Nick Veland. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio. The Columbus Zoo will appeal the Association of Zoos and Aquariums' decision to deny its accreditation. The AZA announced this decision yesterday, one day after the zoo's new CEO was named. The association says it has concerns about the zoo's animal program department and bad business practices by former leaders. Two former leaders resigned in March after a newspaper investigation found they allowed relatives to live in houses controlled by the zoo. The zoo and the AZA had a partnership for more than 40 years, according to WBNS. The zoo acknowledges the allegations, but says it has since made changes. The village of Chesapeake has an acting mayor and only one council member after a mass resignation. The now former mayor Kimberly Oldacre tells WSAZ she, 4 village council members, and the village fiscal officer resigned during Monday night's meeting. Oldacre did not give a reason at the meeting for her resignation, but said she would share details at a later time. There was a petition to recall Chesapeake's mayor in July, which was later ruled invalid. The only council members, Paul Hart and Nate Idake, are left on council, and Idake is now the acting mayor.
Good evening, everyone. I'm your lead forecaster, Erin Ashley, bringing you tonight's weather. Right now in Athens, it's 76 degrees, with mostly cloudy skies with humidity sitting at 70%. There is a chance for rain. If it hasn't already rained, it's likely going to rain as we head into tonight's hours. And winds are going to be generally very calm and from the east direction at 0 to 5 miles per hour. Across the region, you can expect to experience those similar mid-70s temperatures. It's going to be 76 degrees in Marietta to our east. It's going to be a little bit warmer to our south as well. 76 degrees in Ironton and cooler towards the east, 74 degrees in New Martinsville. Looking at the week ahead, these mid-70s temperatures is going to be the reason that we experience almost summer-like conditions, and there is a chance for rain as we head into tonight, as well as into tomorrow as well. Will we see a potential crack of thunder or two? I'll talk about this in my full forecast, but for now, back to you, Nick.
Thanks, Erin. The sister-in-law of missing person Megan Lancaster was found dead over the weekend, according to the Portsmouth Police Department. The Portsmouth Daily Times reports Katie Lancaster fought for several years to find her missing sister-in-law and unveil the truth about what happened to her. Katie's body was found Saturday morning at the residence in the 1100th block of 4th Street. Her body was taken to Montgomery County for an autopsy, and the investigation is still ongoing. Data from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention show the U.S. has recorded the increase of homicide rates in over 100 years. While several factors contribute to this dramatic rise, experts agree that the COVID-19 pandemic heightened issues already there. Chris Wynn has more.
The homicide rate across America now a concerning threat to our nation's public health.
My job is to understand and evaluate the problem, to understand the scope of the problem, to understand why this happens and what are the things that can make it better.
Provisional data from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention suggests that the homicide rate in the U.S. rose 30% between 2019 and 2020. That's the highest increase ever recorded in modern history, as gun violence is also on the rise.
When your heart wrenches every day you turn on the news, you're only hearing the tip of the iceberg.
The agency's overall data is consistent with the separate findings released by the FBI last month. Experts say the numbers aren't surprising, since more children and unemployed adults were stuck at home during the pandemic, leading to higher stress and anxiety levels.
It is not just about violence related to a certain group of people or certain individuals. I really think it says that this is a problem that we all should pay attention to.
COVID-19 also changing the way police do their jobs due to illness and social distancing, which led to fewer officers on the streets.
We need to stop the violence in our community because we all feel unsafe at this point.
America now coming to terms with how much pain the pandemic has caused for many. In Washington, I'm Chris Wynn reporting.
The number of people killed by domestic partners has soared by 62% in the last 2 years. A report from a victim advocacy coalition says more than 130 people died in cases connected to domestic violence in Ohio over the past year. Michaela Deming with the Ohio Domestic Violence Network says there was also an increase in deaths among victims who had already been involved with law enforcement or a support program. Deming says bills pending in the State House could prevent these deaths. One example is Aisha's Law, which requires police to do a lethality assessment on a domestic violence call. This law was reintroduced in February. A man who raped 4 women in Ohio in the 1990s was sentenced to more than 2 decades in prison Tuesday. A warning to our viewers, this story contains details of sexual violence. Karen Johnson has the story.
The worst day of my life was the day Stoney Brown invaded my home in the middle of the night. He held a knife to my throat, threatened to kill me. In a letter to the court, one victim explains how in the mid-90s, Stoney Brown shattered her soul. She was just 22 years old at the time, living near the University of Cincinnati when she was raped. The victim went on to tell the court, "I felt like I was not just raped one night, but instead I was raped hundreds of times because I could not stop reliving it. I was weak, fragile, constantly living in fear." In her letter, the victim asked Judge Jennifer Branch to reject Brown's plea. Yesterday, it was accepted. Brown pleaded guilty to 4 counts of rape. 15 other felonies were dismissed. Brown was sentenced to 23 years in prison for raping 4 young women in the 1990s. 3 were UC students. Detectives only tied Brown to the rapes last year through DNA and an ancestry database. A 5th woman, also a UC student in 1990, says she too was raped by Brown. He was never charged in her case, but she has followed it closely.
Just seeing him like on Channel 5 when they did the arraignment, like it's physical reaction, you know.
She says since so much time had passed, she never expected him to be caught. Now she says she hopes his prison sentence will bring her closure.
I feel like my emotions are all over the place, to be honest with you. It feels like surreal. The chances of him being alive in 23 years aren't that great. So yeah, it's like the big scary monster is locked up now for real and not getting out.
Brown worked as a traffic engineer for the city of Cincinnati for 3 decades before retiring last year. He was arrested in May. DNA identification was also used recently in clearing 3 West Virginia men of homicide charges. 19 years ago, the 3 men were convicted of killing a woman. The Herald-Dispatch reports Special Prosecutor Thomas Plymate dismissed all charges against Philip Barnett, Nathaniel Barnett, and Justin Black Tuesday. The 2002 death of Diana Crawford in Cabell County went unsolved until DNA testing identified another man at the scene. Crawford's mother has said she believed that all 4 men are guilty. President Joe Biden is frustrated as government shutdown looms. Local athletes are signing deals to profit from their name, image, and likeness. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
They're invisible keepers of cosmic secrets.
These particles are fundamentally important in the universe.
Neutrinos.
What are these neutrinos' role in the Big Bang, the evolution of our universe?
And what makes the stars shine?
And are they keys to unlock a hidden universe?
95% of the universe is an utter complete mystery.
It's mind-blowing.
Particles unknown on Nova.
It is very hard nowadays to have any awareness of how different the world was for gay people.
Homosexuality is, in fact, a mental illness.
Thousands of gay people went to psychiatrists to be cured.
Activism lit the spark.
This was an uprising
Take the damning label of sickness away from us.
I'm not going to allow you to dictate to me about who I am.
Cured, Monday, October 11th at 10/9 Central on Independent Lens.
How did these homes change America?
I'm Jeffrey Bear, and I'll be your guide
as we go inside 10 homes that changed the way we live. From Taos Pueblo to Thomas Jefferson's Monticello to Frank Lloyd Wright's Fallingwater.
Find out which great American homes made the list
of 10 homes that changed America.
Week 8, we're getting to the point in the season where conference title races are heating up and playoff seeding is taking shape. Gridiron Glory has you covered on all the biggest matchups around Southern Ohio, including Portsmouth traveling to Fairland and Wheelersburg hosting Waverly. Other big games include Jackson traveling to Washington Courthouse and Philo hosting Sheridan. All that and more on Gridiron Glory, 11:30 Friday night, only on WOUB. Welcome back. Ever since student athletes were allowed to be compensated for their use of their name, image, and likeness, many athletes and businesses have begun partnerships and sponsorships with each other. Reporter Joe Collins has more on the deals that have been going on that involve Ohio University athletes and Athens companies.
Back in June, Governor Mike DeWine signed Executive Order 2021/10D, which established that student athletes in Ohio colleges deserve to be compensated for use of their name, image, and likeness. Over 4 months later, we've seen many different Ohio University athletes begin partnering with local apparel stores to sell t-shirts and merchandise branding themselves. One store seizing on this opportunity is Shop Athens, Ohio. Owner John Salmon says his online business is working with a lot of Bobcat athletes, past and present.
I think it's been interesting and it's been fun. It's opened up a lot of different opportunities for student athletes to partner with whoever they want to partner with. And, we're fortunate enough to have many, many different student athletes from Ohio University that we partner with.
Bobcat athletes from nearly every sport have been able to partner with a company, the three most common being Shop Athens, Ohio, This One Time in College, and Barstool Athletes. Volleyball player Maggie Nadoma was one of the first Bobcat athletes to pen an NIL deal after its passing.
So just having the opportunity to now integrate deeper into the community, even if I'm the one that has to reach out first, just knowing that I get to represent Athens in Athens makes me really happy.
The passing of NIL has brought on unique opportunities for athletes, specifically in teaching them an important part of the business world, how to market yourself to others. Salmon says the NIL is good teaching lesson for all of them.
I think there's a lot of good that's come from it. I think that, in talking to students, that's really the mindset that they're trying to get to is, okay, I have the ability to essentially be my own business. So now I have to think like I'm my own business. So how do I market myself? How do I generate more followers?
Reporting for Newswatch in Athens, Ohio, I'm Joe Collins.
To buy your own Ohio University apparel with an Ohio University athlete's name on it, head over to shopathens.ohio.com or thisonetimeincollege.com. Democrats are scrambling to address the debt ceiling ahead of the critical deadline amid Republican pushback. A default would be financially catastrophic for the economy and millions of Americans. A Wednesday afternoon Senate vote to advance Democratic legislation to suspend the debt ceiling is now delayed, as Democrats consider options for a short-term solution represented by Republican Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. Isabel Rosales in Washington has the details.
As a debt disaster looms,
our markets are rattled, America's savings are on the line. It doesn't have to be this way.
President Joe Biden and his party growing increasingly frustrated by Republican obstruction.
My Republican friends need to stop playing Russian roulette with the U.S. economy. If they don't want to do the job, just get out of the way.
Senate Democrats now considering changing filibuster rules that would allow them to move forward by a simple majority vote without any Republicans. Republicans are expected to block Democrats' attempt to advance debt ceiling legislation in a Wednesday afternoon vote.
I think it's incumbent upon Democrats to raise the debt ceiling. They can do it. They need to get on with it.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is also expected to make a proposal to Democratic leadership on a likely short-term solution. But Republicans haven't been the only obstacle. Democratic Senator Joe Manchin remains a fierce opponent of changing the filibuster rules.
I've been very, very clear where I stand on the filibuster. I don't have to repeat that. I think I've been very clear. Nothing changes.
There is another option for Democrats to raise the debt ceiling on their own, a budget process known as reconciliation. But that route takes time, something they're running short on.
This has to get done. You'd have to pay the bills.
A default could bring financial calamity, marking the first in our nation's history. In Washington, Isabel Rosales.
President Biden also expressed frustration, saying raising the debt ceiling is usually bipartisan. A national campaign highlights an Ohio women's story in her battle against COVID. That story is still ahead.
Happy homecoming week, everyone. Lots of celebrations are in order, but will it rain on our parade? I'll talk about this in my full forecast, but for now, take a look at stocks of local interest.
They're invisible keepers of cosmic secrets.
These particles are fundamentally important in the universe.
Neutrinos.
What are these neutrinos' role in the Big Bang, the evolution of our universe?
And what makes the stars shine?
And are they keys to unlock a hidden universe?
95% of the universe is an utter complete mystery.
It's mind-blowing.
Particles unknown on Nova.
How did these homes change America?
I'm Jeffrey Bear, and I'll be your guide
as we go inside 10 homes that changed the way we live. From Taos Pueblo, to Thomas Jefferson's Monticello, to Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water.
Find out which great American homes made the list
of 10 homes that changed America.
It is very hard nowadays to have any awareness of how different the world was for gay people.
Homosexuality is, in fact, a mental illness.
Thousands of gay people went to psychiatrists to be cured.
Activism lit the spark.
This was an uprising.
Take the damning label of sickness away from us.
I'm not going to allow you to dictate to me about who I am.
Cured, Monday, October 11th at 10/9 Central on Independent Lens.
Week 8, we're getting to the point in the season where conference title races are heating up and playoff seeding is taking shape. Gridiron Glory has you covered on all the biggest matchups around Southern Ohio, including Portsmouth traveling to Fairland and Wheelersburg hosting Waverly. Other big games include Jackson traveling to Washington Courthouse and Philo hosting Sheridan. All that and more on Gridiron Glory, 11:30 Friday night, only on WOUB.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Newswatch. Sorry for the technical difficulties right there, but for now let's take a look at the visible satellite image you see right here. Right here in Ohio you can see that there's spotty clouds over our region currently, which may or may not bring along some rain later tonight. Looking at the hour by hour, you can see that that chance for rain is going to be early in the morning. We're looking at 4 in the morning, but at 8 p.m. it's going to be 70 degrees and it's going to slowly, steadily cool to 66 degrees with calm winds. High humidity as well at 100% with a low of 64 degrees, mostly cloudy skies, and there's that chance for early rain that you could see at 3, maybe 4 in the morning as well. Winds are going to be very calm. Across the region tonight, we're going to see very similar temperatures in the mid-60s, 64 for the majority of the central of the region. 63 degrees is going to be a cool up in Cambridge, and it's going to be warmer towards our south. 65 degrees in Ironton and 65 degrees in Ripley. The surface features analysis right here, you can see that the stationary front is hovering steadily over our region. That's going to bring that chance for precipitation tonight and into tomorrow. And I went ahead and put on that little green shade right here. That's going to indicate and show just exactly where that chance for rain and thunderstorms appears. Across, the hour by hour for tomorrow at 8 in the morning, it's going to be 64 degrees with a 30% chance of rain. It's going to steadily warm up to 73 degrees at noon. with a chance of rain. It's going to be at 60% as well. Athens tomorrow is going to be a high of 75 degrees. Humidity is going to be 100%. So if it's not raining tomorrow, it's going to feel very, very muggy. That rain should appear after noon, with winds being very calm, but it's going to be from the southeast, anywhere from 0 to 5 miles per hour. Across the region tomorrow, highs are going to be in the mid to upper 70s, with warm areas towards our northeast as that rain moves east, 78 degrees in Cambridge and New Martinsville. And it's going to be cooler towards our west, 74 degrees in Cambridge and Columbus, and Chillicothe as well. The surface analysis, you can see there's not much happening right here, but this extension, of the lower pressure system down here in the south, it's going to be the cause for any chance of rain or thunderstorms that you see right here in the green as well. Looking at the week ahead, you can expect to see that chance for rain going to linger into Friday. Friday is expected to be particularly rainy, especially 60% chance of rain with a high of 78 degrees, and it's going to be warmer as we head into early next week. I'll throw it over to Nick.
Thanks, Aaron. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is sharing stories of unvaccinated COVID-19 patients for hopes that the unvaccinated will get the vaccine. It's part of a $250 million public education campaign. One of the ads tells the story of a woman who lives with her family in Ohio. She says she didn't get the vaccine because she was worried about side effects, but then she got the COVID and was in a coma for 11 days. Given the chance to do it over, she says she would have gotten the vaccine. Another ad tells the story of a man from St. Louis who says doctors gave him a 5% chance of living. Versions of the ad will be on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest, and Nextdoor. They will also appear on national television in areas with low vaccination rates. Now over to Curtis.
Thanks, Nick. Sorry to interrupt you there, but hi, I'm Curtis Fader, and an Ohio University athlete has rewritten the school's record books. And the Ohio women's basketball team just announced an action-packed schedule for the upcoming season. Details and more coming up next on Newswatch. Stay tuned to WOUB, and here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Next time on the national parks. During a depression and a war, the parks bring jobs and peace. A young biologist revolutionizes the park's wildlife policies.
George Millen is right. He was a savior of wildlife.
And in Wyoming, battle lines are drawn along the front of the Tetons.
The ranchers were totally opposed.
As the national parks continues.
On Life from Above. Looking down from space, satellite cameras capture the brilliant colors of our planet, revealing an amazing kaleidoscope set in a world that is vibrant, surprising, and changing, created by nature and humans. Discover our planet's incredible spectrum of colors as you've never seen it before.
Week 8, we're getting to the point in the season where conference title races are heating up and playoff seeding is taking shape. Gridiron Glory has you covered on all the biggest matchups around Southern Ohio, including Portsmouth traveling to Fairland and Wheelersburg hosting Waverly. Other big games include Jackson traveling to Washington Courthouse and Philo hosting Sheridan. All that and more on Gridiron Glory, 11:30 Friday night, only on WOUB.
It is very hard nowadays to have any awareness of how different the world was for gay people.
Homosexuality is, in fact, a mental illness.
Thousands of gay people went to psychiatrists to be cured.
Activism lit the spark. This was an uprising.
Take the damning label of sickness away from us.
I'm not going to allow you to dictate to me about who I am.
Cured, Monday, October 11th at 10, 9 Central on Independent Lens.
Welcome back to Newswatch. I'm Curtis Fader. The Ohio women's basketball team this week released their non-conference schedule for the upcoming season. The season starts with a compelling matchup November 9th at Notre Dame, a team that the Bobcats upset last season by a point in the Convo. Other featured matchups for Ohio is on the road against the Cincinnati Bearcats the following week and a trip to Minnesota to play the Golden Gophers in mid-December. The Bobcats, led by stellar backcourt duo Cece Hooks and Erica Johnson, will look to capture that elusive MAC title this year with their first conference game against Miami on December 29th. Meanwhile, the Ohio soccer team looks to continue their unbeaten run to start MAC play when they host the Western Michigan Broncos tomorrow. These red-hot Bobcats are looking to pounce on a struggling Western Michigan team who has lost 6 of their last 7 matches. Key X factors for Ohio include MAC Defensive Player of the Week Sam Wexel in goal with 6 clean sheets in 11 matches, leading goal scorer Shea Robertson, and dangerous chance creator Abby Townsend. This homecoming match kicks off tomorrow at Chesapeake Field at 4 p.m. Meanwhile, an Ohio University athlete has set a new school record this week. Cross-country runner Josh Parks set a new record for the 8,000 meters at 23 minutes and 32 seconds at the Live and Lou Cross Country Classic. The MAC rewarded Parks' feat yesterday, naming him the MAC Runner of the Week. Josh Park competes again next Friday at the Penn State National Open. One of the most important weekends for college sports is homecoming, and this weekend the festivities are just about to begin. Ahead of the highly anticipated football game on Saturday between Ohio and Central Michigan, the Yell Like Hell pep rally is set to take place tomorrow at 6:45 p.m. on the College Green, featuring the Marching 110. To find out the exclusive look behind the scenes of the 110 Friday, tune in on Newswatch at 6:30 p.m. While the Ohio football team has struggled this season, other Ohio schools have had some great success stories to start their 2021-22 campaign. 2 Ohio teams are in the top 10, with the University of Cincinnati Bearcats, ranked in the top 5 for the first time since 2009, and are also ranked ahead of the Columbus juggernaut Ohio State Buckeyes. The Bearcats earned the right to be in the top 5 with great wins against Indiana and most recently the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Heisman hopeful Desmond Ridder already has over 1,000 yards passing in just 4 games, along with 9 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. If Cincinnati takes care of Temple this week, they will likely move up after number 3 Iowa and number 4 Penn State play against each other later this week. Ohio State, on the other hand, has struggled early when they lost to Oregon, but have since won their last 3 games and have plenty of time to jump the rankings against other top-ranked Big Ten opponents such as Penn State, Michigan, and Michigan State later on in their schedule. I'm Curtis Fader, and that's all for sports. Back over to you, Nick.
Thanks, Curtis. During the French Revolution, Queen Marie Antoinette wrote several letters to her rumored lover, Count Axel von Fersen of Sweden. We're now getting a glimpse of the letters that have puzzled historians for 150 years. Until now, the true meanings of these notes were hidden. Certain words have been written over with random letters. A team of scientists used a special X-ray device to reveal the hidden words, which included beloved, tender friend, adore, and madly. Researchers believe von Fersen censored the letters himself, either for sentimental reasons or political reasons. The study, published in the journal Science Advances, details how von Fersen helped organize a failed attempt to smuggle the royal family out of France. Now, over to Aaron for one last look at weather.
Thank you, Nick. Just a reminder that tomorrow it's going to be a high of 75 degrees with pretty rainy conditions. So if you're planning on going out tomorrow night especially, make sure to bring an umbrella and plan accordingly with your drive. Humidity is going to be at 100%, so if it's not raining, it's going to feel very muggy, unfortunately, with winds coming from the southeast, anywhere from 0 to 5 miles per hour. Across the region, it's going to be anywhere from the mid to upper 70s, with the warm spots being towards the northeast region with Cambridge and New Martinsville. Looking at the week ahead, you can expect to see that chance for rain will linger into Friday and a little bit into Saturday maybe as well. And I'll throw it back to Nick to finish up.
Thanks, Aaron. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Nick Veland. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Support comes from Goldsberry Wealth Strategies in Athens and Parkersburg, focusing on helping people achieve a life well lived with a custom strategy. Information at goldsberrywealth.com. Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated, member FINRA, SIPC. Support comes from Snyder Fuller and Stroh in Athens, providing